Welcome to Creativity Club, the club for expressing your dreams. This project is a color clay assemblage. To start things off, we need to review a little color theory. The first term that we want to cover is hue. Hue means a pure pigment. So let's use red for example, okay? If you take red and you mix it with white, that's called a tint of red. If you take red and you mix it with gray, that's called a tone of red. If you take red and you mix it with black, that's called a shade of red. Tint, tone, and shade. Those are the terms I want you to remember. The next thing you want to do is decide what your favorite color is.
What's your favorite color?
This could be from the color wheel or not, including more specific hues like, for example, neon green. The next thing is you want to think of 5 things that are personal to you that are that color. For example, if I choose yellow, I might choose something like my favorite yellow shirt, a sunflower, my yellow cat, my yellow car, or my favorite drink, lemonade. It could be anything that resonates with you that is that color of your choice. It should be personal to you. And then while you're at home, print a picture of each of those 5 things. Okay, let's start talking about the project steps. Step 1. You've got those 5 things printed. Now in your sketchbook, you're going to sketch each of those 5 things the best you can in detail and shading. You're going to sketch 1 item per page. You don't need to skip pages. You can use the front and back in your sketchbook. That's 5 sketches, 1 per page, with a lot of effort, and that's what matters. Step 2 is also sketching, and it's where you'll start making the combinations that will later become the clay assemblage for this sculpture, which is the point of this sculpture project. Okay, you're going to draw 3 separate concepts for how best to arrange or collage those 5 things. And you could think of this in different ways, and you'll have to, since you need 3 separate ideas, 3 separate sketches. First of all, do you know what collage is? No, not college. That's where you're going to go when you graduate from high school. Collage is when you combine different pictures and paper together by sticking them to a backing. Here's a good example of that. One idea is that you can combine them into a scene somehow that makes sense. Or just think about design and composition and balance. Or, and this is pretty silly but it works, you could think of each item like a plastic toy like Legos and assemble it into a design. Or any way you want to think about combining them. Step 3 is to paint. You're going to choose your best design of the 3 concepts from step 2 and redraw it on construction paper and then paint it. Pay specific attention to the color theory we just learned, tint, tone, and shade. Your design shouldn't just be one color. It should have many variations of your color and pops or splashes of other colors. So I really need to see you mixing colors for this project. That's what it's all about. You should also include the background to add to your design idea or at least some complementary or contrasting colors. Step 4 is to sculpt. Finally, you'll sculpt your design in clay, and when it's dry, we'll paint it. You can think of the sculpture as assemblage. This is a clay color assemblage. Assemblage is a 3-dimensional collage. Let me give you some artist examples to inspire you in this project. First example is Joseph Cornell. Joseph Cornell was an American artist known for his creation of collages and shadow boxes, featuring found objects from marbles to photos of movie stars and small sculptures of birds. The next artist example is Robert Rauschenberg. Robert Rauschenberg was an American painter and graphic artist whose early works anticipated the pop art movement. Rauschenberg is well known for his combines, a group of artworks which incorporated everyday materials as art materials and which blurred the distinctions between painting and sculpture. For simplicity, let's think of combines as the same as assemblage. Okay, so let's talk about assemblage. Assemblage is an artistic form usually created on a base that consists of three-dimensional elements projecting out of the base. It's similar to collage, which is 2D. The origin of assemblage dates to the Cubist constructions of Pablo Picasso. Let's look at Picasso's bull's head, for example. When you look at this sculpture, you see a bull's head, but what is it really? It's a bicycle seat and bicycle handlebars. When you look at things in new ways, when you arrange them in new ways, they make new ideas. And that's the point of this assemblage project. The figurative thread we're going to sew through this creativity club is to think like an artist. For this project, you'll need to not only think like an artist, you'll need to think like a designer, an engineer, and a sculptor. A designer is a person who plans the form, look, or workings of something before it's being built, typically by drawing it in detail. An engineer is a person who designs, builds, or maintains engines, machines, or public works. A sculptor is an artist who makes sculptures. And then let's recap a little bit of the other vocabulary. Hue is a pure pigment. Tint is a pigment plus white. Tone is a pigment plus gray. Shade is a pigment plus black. Collage is when you combine different pictures of paper together by sticking them to a backing. A combine is a form of collage in which a painted surface is combined with various real objects or sometimes photographic images attached to it. And finally, an assemblage is an artistic form or medium usually created on a base that consists of 3D elements projecting out from the base. It's similar to collage, which is 2D. Hey, you got this. This project is a little tricky, but whatever your vision is the correct vision. Your artwork might not look like everyone else's, and that's okay. If it comes from your heart, that's perfect.